Today, it's ChillPoint with Beej and Paul and Graham.
Oh,
Hi.
Hey,
how's it going?
everybody.
I only get to do that maneuver now once.
Ever in your life?
Well, appearing
Hiding under your chair and coming back.
appearing from beneath my desk. That it was like, how do I do this? Do I do this where I like raise myself up slowly? Do I like just peek my head up at the end, kind of deal? Like, because you don't get like 5 or 6 passes at that.
Are you happy with the choices you made?
I think I'm gonna have to be like. That's the part about being a professional, right? Is just being like, well,
This is live.
only got one shot.
It's live,
Fair
so
enough.
something's gonna happen, I guess.
Exactly.
So, welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we chat about video game news.
Spoilers. Don't expect anything about the Xbox.
So, okay.
Well, there was an
Xbox.
go ahead.
There's an Xbox Series X event this morning.
The gameplay event.
Yeah, it was at 8 a.m., which is very early. 8 a.m. for us.
Also, yeah. Also, it was not gameplay.
Well, yeah, it was. It was like the first of what are apparently going to be monthly Xbox events. So it wasn't like, here's the big news thing. It was more just sort of, it's going to be like an incremental thing.
One or two people saying that, Beej, that you sound loud. So here's the thing: you sound fine to me,
Right.
Beej. But when I was watching Jackbox last night, you were very peaky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I realized about halfway through, and I adjusted my mic downwards because I was like, oh shit, I am probably way too loud then. And I have now since done that again, so
All right.
hopefully I'll be better. It didn't help that I was also just like completely off my nut and just screaming.
You were screaming. That's true.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not something that can be adjusted easily when you're off your nut.
Do not
Yeah.
attempt to adjust Beej's nut.
I mean, Maricat literally subscribed to someone whose name was Woo in all caps, and so I gave everyone the best woo I could. So
I remember that.
yeah,
I have turned up my volume a little bit. Hopefully, that's better.
I have turned mine down.
Well,
Everyone said I
don't
was
know.
fine, so I've done nothing.
Yeah,
They did
His volume was
show
just right.
they did show further trailer and like in-engine footage, but not gameplay, of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, they were
which-
like, we're going to show gameplay, and then they flagrantly lied.
Yeah, I tuned in briefly, and the chat was just mad salty about like, oh, where's the gameplay? Is this the gameplay? Is this the gameplay part you were talking about? Anyway, I don't know if they eventually did. I believe they didn't end up showing any of it. But so Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you are Vikings, and it's set around the time, around the time of the Viking invasions of the British Isles, which is a broad time zone.
I mean, they're not going to have said it
in
when
history.
the Vikings were doing things.
No, but I mean, the Vikings were, like that. The Vikings never really invaded the British Isles per se. They raided a whole bunch of stuff, and then eventually they just got sick of raiding it and moved there. But it wasn't really an invasion in the classical, when you're like, oh right, yeah, hordes sweeping across the land, and then they occupy and take over. No, they were
It's
just like
we keep
presumably-
invading. If we just
Yeah.
bought houses here, we would have way less of a commute.
Yeah,
presumably this will be the more interesting violent parts and not the early parts where it was just a bunch of Vikings would roll up, knock over a completely undefended monastery on a remote island somewhere and leave again, because that's not particularly exciting.
It's like
Good for us.
if if you lived here, you'd be invaded by now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Or maybe you'll get to do like really bold and exciting things like ransom Canterbury for some number of silver and then leave. The Vikings were not as like the trailer looks hardcore, and I like Old English history to an extent. I don't know much about it, to be honest, but I'm a fan of some aspects of it, mostly the Romans. But anyway, but there's a bit in the trailer where the Viking dude kills some the first. Pretty sure it's inspired by the first person who is known on record as having been killed by a Viking in England, who's like a guy. He's basically an administrator who would like check on traveling merchants, and it's like, oh, there's a bunch of Vikings. You should go see what they want to do, what they want to sell or whatever. And like, okay, sure, I'll go check that out. And then they killed him. So I guess they figured out pretty easily what the Vikings were about.
Yeah, that and
what's the record?
Exquisite personal hygiene.
Mm-hmm. Is the record like, oh no, a Viking killed me? He like wrote that just as he was dying. Or the Vikings wrote down, killed some tax collector guy. His name was David.
His ID said it was this, so yeah.
Let's see, what article am I looking for here?
They found his tax collector papers later, and they were like, oh, he must be dead.
I do gotta say, Vikings, not known for their stealthy assassinations, but, maybe we'll see.
Is this somebody in the chat? I just saw their name. I think it was Growleman. Went by real fast. Let me scroll back. There we go. They probably don't know that many Vikings were women. No. Like, is that really the case? Is that men and women traveled together and kicked the shit out of, like 50-50? They all showed up and beat the crap out of everybody and stole all their stuff?
I mean, I don't know about 50-50, but I mean, obviously, like, the Vikings were not just the guys who were going out and killing people.
Yeah.
Presumably, there's lots of different, but yeah, from what I understand, there was a fair amount of, whatever. It was sort of a co-ed kind of thing.
Oh, here we go.
Lots of yeses showing up that there's some archaeological evidence and there's an emerging theory, and that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, obviously Viking babies have to come from somewhere. Yes.
And there's also just the thing with this that Ubisoft has actually been talking about how they're gonna, because of course there's the thing from however long ago where they got into kerfuffle about.
We did make a scathing video about them. It's true,
and so they've talked about how they're female Vikings and yada yada yada. So apparently it's all good.
So his name was Bodaherd, and he was a reeve based in Dorchester. Became the first known person killed by a Viking raid in England. And there's a there was a chronicle. They actually they to your question, Paul, they wrote it down. It's got like an illumination on the first letter and everything. 3 ships landed at Portland, and when Bodaherd heard of their arrival, he leapt on his horse, sped to the harbor with a few men. He spoke to the arrivals in an authoritative tone, and that is why they killed him.
Watch your tone.
This guy would have been forgotten if not for the fact that what a terrible thing to go down to history for, too.
Don't give the Vikings any sass mouth, I think is what we're learning.
Is there any record of the last person ever killed by a Viking? Because we have in Canada, like, this is the last person that was ever killed by hanging. Like,
I feel like it depends a lot on what you would consider to be a Viking.
Right.
Someone at the Battle of Stamford Bridge, I guess.
Okay.
Traditionally presented as symbolizing the end of the Viking Age. This was September 25th, 1066.
September 25th.
A lot of things happened in 1066.
2019.
certainly
Interesting.
there is a list out there of like the first and last person killed by disco, so I have to assume that there's the same thing for like Vikings.
A lot of stuff went down in 1066.
Well, you keep saying things that are like causes of death, like not the people who actually did the death,
Right.
which are somewhat like it's easy to say like, oh, that guy was hung or that guy was hanged, that guy wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
The definition of what a Viking is it's a little foggy. Be like, oh no, I was the last person killed by a Viking, and then the guy who kills you is like, actually, I'm not a Viking. Just so
I'm
you
Norman.
know, yeah, I do not consider myself to be a Viking, and I would appreciate it if you don't think of me that way as I'm stabbing you.
I wonder though, like that's gotta suck that like the guy who was the first English whomever killed by a Viking, he's the one who's remembered, but the guy who killed him did not go down in history in any way, shape, or form for that.
That's true. Presumably, that was the first Viking to kill an English person that we know of.
No one was around to take his name down, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, old Eric the English killer, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking? Right, we were talking about that. Just came up because we were talking about the
Animal Crossing Valhalla, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking
AAC
about
Valhalla.
the Xbox Series X event, among which Assassin's Creed is going to be one of the games, or is one of the games that's going to be out for Xbox Series X, but also for Xbox One and for Xbox One X. Because a whole ton of the games are going to be under Microsoft's new
Smart delivery
initiative, which basically means that you buy the game and it will install. It'll work on your Xbox One, your Xbox One X, and your Xbox Series X with appropriate quality changes, presumably.
Does that mean that it's like if you buy the game now, you'll get it for your Xbox One, but when the Series X comes out, it's like you can also now get that for that?
That's kind of the big deal about it, is that it makes it so that I think part of it from Microsoft's point of view is it makes it so that consumers aren't kind of waiting for, it's like, well, I'll wait until it comes out for, till Xbox Series X comes out so I can get it on the new thing. And developers aren't being like, well, maybe I don't want to release this game quite yet because I want to release it for the next console. So if you can pull it off, it's a pretty good deal.
Well, and it definitely seems like that has less of a console feel to me now too, right? It has definitely kind of a PC feel where it's like I buy a game, and if I want to make it run better, I buy the new hardware for it, but I can still run the same game.
Yeah,
that's a very interesting idea.
Ironically, the smart delivery thing does not include PC gaming.
Yes,
right.
But yeah, it's the weird aspect where it's like, if you buy a game for your computer and then you get a new graphics card, the game still works. Is not that impressive?
Yeah, right. Like,
but for consoles, the mentality is a little different.
Do you want to hear the quick rundown of the 13 games they talked about this morning?
That's a lot of games.
Mm-hmm. So here are the ones that are confirmed to be 13 games that will be coming to the new. So these will be coming to the Series X launch window.
These are not. So it's the two things. Is one, these are not consoles. These are not exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
And also these, the actual Microsoft Game Studios first-party titles are not being announced until July, I think. So these are third-party titles still. But.
Yeah. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Bright Memory Infinite, which is an updated version of Bright Memory, a first-person shooter.
Of course.
Call of the Sea, a first-person puzzle game.
That would be kind of neat, actually.
Yeah. Chorus, which is a space combat game, single-player space combat.
First person?
No.
Flyer. It's a...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Dirt 5, the latest Dirt.
Motorbike racing.
The dirtiest yet. Cars.
Oh, is it?
It's just dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's, yeah. Madden NFL 21. Sure. By the way, the URL for this story, because they get auto generated out of like tags for the thing, is we're reading it from Polygon, so it's like polygon.com / and then a bunch of date and numbers and stuff. Xbox Series X game announcements, smart delivery, Assassin's Creed Madden, and I'm like, ooh, Assassin's Creed Madden, interesting.
The thing is it's all a computer simulation.
Yeah, we're all in the mind of John Madden.
The Assassins versus the
The knife comes out. Boom. Anyway, Scarlet Nexus, a game in which your goal is to become the sort of psionic warrior who rescued your character as a child.
First person?
Very. I don't think so, but it looks very anime. One second, let me see. No, third person, profoundly anime. All right, Scorn. It's some sort of Metroidvania with very Giger inspired art direction. Second Extinction.
Clicker game?
Mutated dinosaurs have taken over the planet, and it's up to you and 2 friends to team up and wipe them out. Doesn't say it's not a clicker game. Oh, it's a first-person shooter. Sorry.
Okay.
What are mutated dinosaurs as opposed to just regular dinosaurs?
They have guns attached to their bodies, and they drive Cadillacs.
Perfect. The Ascent. And now I'm just waiting for Beach to guess.
Mountain climbing simulation.
No.
Is it
a
sequel to Descent?
Right? Wouldn't that make sense? No,
That'd be rad.
A solo or co-op cyberpunk RPG.
Okay.
And third person, it looks like, sort of Diablo-esque camera angle.
All these trailers are available online, by the way, if you want to check them out.
Yeah. The Medium.
Erotic visual novel?
No, it's a horror game. Sorry. The team behind the Blair Witch video game adaptation, as well as the Layers of Fear series. So,
might be
Layers of Fear.
Medium.
Yeah, Layers of Fear, Blair Witch.
I feel like that review kind of writes the review headline kind of writes itself there.
It really does. Don't name your game that. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Train simulator.
Correct. And finally, Yakuza : Like a Dragon, which is the most recent Yakuza game, which is already out in Japan on PS4.
Dragon.
Huh. Not given a numbered thing.
Correct.
Weird.
Yeah.
Fanciful retelling of Dune. I had to throw something out there. So anyway.
Yeah,
it's not a Kiryu game. Okay.
It's called Yakuza 7 in Japan.
Yeah, Yuga Gotoku 7. Okay. Here it's just going to be Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Because
weird.
In North America, we want confusing game titles.
But that's not a console exclusive when all the Yakuza games so far have been very heavily on coming out on Sony consoles. So
it's already out in Japan on PS4.
Yeah, okay.
And I assume it will release in North America on PS4 at some point.
Right.
But not yet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's something that that extensive list of games is something we're not going to talk about today, except for the part that we talked about.
Correct.
But we do have other stuff that we're going to talk about because.
Can I ask about one thing though? Because because I don't give a crap about Xbox. We understand that. I don't give a crap about many things if it wasn't Nintendo.
Right.
But I took it originally that this was like going to be the only Xbox focused stream that is happening, like as the part of the big announcement or whatever. But now I'm finding out that that's not the case. That this is a series of events.
Yeah, they're doing monthly events. This being the first. Apparently, the big event is in July, where they're actually going to be showing off all of the first-party Microsoft titles. Okay. Which presumably will be more console exclusives and stuff. and then there also is going to be another event in June. So that was like
Okay.
we were internally debating how much effort we should put into covering this event. We're like, oh man, this is going to be like the big Microsoft thing. This will be like like the E3 press conferences. Maybe we should cover this. And then as it sort of got closer, the people started talking about it. It's like, this isn't actually going to be as. I think Microsoft saw that as well, and we're like, oh shit, people's expectations are getting a little high here. Let's bring it down because we know it's not going to be that impressive a thing.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a couple of releases. Here's some stuff.
Here's a bunch of trailers we would have shown at E3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Dog of Myth says it was underwhelming. That's the impression I got. So, should we read the stories that we're going to do as a part of the recorded show that will be later?
Yes.
I am
All
ready
right.
to do so.
Beej.
There we go.
Good story.
Good story.
My turn. Sorry, go ahead.
Facebook is warmed over suck, which isn't news. But what is news is how it's hurting private fan groups of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Facebook's algorithm issues a strike when you talk about drugs. And if you were looking to buy or sell clumps of weeds in Animal Crossing, well, you'd best find a new marketplace. The owners of one of these private groups published a warning stating that you cannot make posts containing the word weed for fear of being caught by the sentry bots. Instead, please use creative words when you're looking to sling ganja, I guess? Fine, but can we agree on some terms first? I'll start. Weed is now hemp. Sticks are now stems. Iron nuggets are now clank nugs. Star fragments are angel dust. And the duck formerly known as Molly will now be called MDMA. The best part of this warning has to be the line, "We are sorry for the inconvenience, as we also think that this is stupid." Mostly because I've never heard a single line sum up so much of what we talk about here at CheckPoint.
We also think this is stupid. I love it.
Yeah. I wonder how like the weird weird obscure names for drugs come about. This is why.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just getting the shout outs to Luke Plunkett from Kotaku, who the first line of their article on this story is Facebook is owned by humans but run by robots. Sorry, machines actually. Yeah, Facebook is owned by humans but run by machines. And it's like that's the problem with this is people are like, "Oh, it takes like so many weeds to craft this, you need like 5 clumps of weeds to craft medicine or whatever." And it's like autoban.
What do gardening groups talk about? Like
I don't know.
Like
Oh God, you're right.
Just weed. Anyway, I have this
What
real
do-
problem with weeds.
What do people who live in Canada who want to legally talk about cannabis and the enjoyment of cannabis talk about? Or do they just
Yeah.
not go to Facebook anymore?
Probably. I mean, they shouldn't.
Probably.
I'm just afraid that somebody is going to either the two communities are going to get confused, right? And somebody's going to end up spending a whole bunch of money on like in-game Animal Crossing stuff, and then somebody else ends up with like a big baggie full of dank nugs at their door, being like, "I didn't order this."
Yeah. Am I now on the dark web?
Now because Normie V didn't respond to you. Now I want to know what they were talking about. They just said,
Yeah.
"Are you guys nervous about tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Oh, tomorrow is Friday, right? Checks calendar. Yes, Friday. Okay. I have no idea. I just had my KK Slider concert in Animal
Yay.
Crossing, so now I can finally terraform and put in a bridge next to the beach for F's sake."
You can't have a bridge until you have a concert.
Though you can
No.
build bridges, but this is different.
You can build bridges, but I couldn't build one right down by the beach because there wasn't the river up from the beach turned too quickly on one side. So I needed terraforming to put in 1 square's worth of ground so I could put a bridge right beside the beach.
And having a
So.
concert enables terraforming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They happen to coincide at the right time.
Yeah.
It makes you 3 stars. What it means when you become 3-star
concerts
book.
just destroy land. That's
KK rocks that hard. Let's
you
be
sing
fair.
too loud and it just flattens the whole area.
Yeah. After you finally achieve the things to have the concert, then Tom Nook is like, well, there's nothing left for us to do here. Unless you want to,
Let's tear this place apart.
Yeah. Then he gives you the terraforming tools. So some of them. Then you have to unlock others. It's a whole thing. Anyway. Do you have anything further to add for that story? I mean, it's just sort of funny and self-explanatory.
And hopefully, I mean, everyone's in the chat seemed to enjoy it, so I don't think we've missed anything particularly that's like, well, why is this happening? No, I think everyone gets why it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Facebook. All right. Here's this one. Just to catch everyone up to speed, real quick, gaming publisher Nordic Games was founded in 2008. In 2014, they bought the THQ trademark and whatever THQ IPs hadn't sold at auction, and subsequently renamed their development arm THQ Nordic, renamed themselves THQ Nordic AB, and acquired a bunch of subsidiary studios. In 2018, they acquired Koch Media, probably not the one you're thinking of, and their publishing division, Deep Silver, who had themselves previously bought Volition, developers of Saints Row and Red Faction. In 2019, THQ Nordic did that AMA on 8chan, shoutouts to Mark, and parent company THQ Nordic AB renamed themselves to Embracer Group to avoid confusion. I mention all of this because last week, THQ Nordic and Koch Media, who both operate independently under Embracer Group's ownership, did a bit of a schoolyard trade of intellectual properties. Trading 5 commons for an uncommon and a rare, Koch Media gave up Sacred, Risen, Rush for Berlin, Second Sight, and Singles, Flirt Up Your Life, in exchange for Painkiller and Red Faction. Which means that 9 years after THQ, the original THQ, said they were canceling the series, Red Faction is now one step closer to being back at home with its original creators, Volition, who are owned by Deep Silver, the gaming division of Koch Media, a subsidiary of Embracer Group. Flowcharts will be available for purchase in the gift shop.
We don't have a gift shop.
Damn.
I should open a gift shop.
I should open a gift shop.
The problem with this, of course, is because this is a straight trade, it means we still don't have Red Faction Flirt Up Your Life. That doesn't solve that problem.
Red Faction Singles.
Oh, man. That's so good.
Oh, man.
What was that game? There was like a GBA game called God, was it?
The Rub Rabbits?
No. Oh, excuse me. It's called, Sprung.
Right. Was that?
Sprung, a game where everyone scores.
Was that GBA or was that early DS?
That was DS, thank you, yes.
Yeah.
I only remember it because a guy we used to know who was the manager of EB Games in town was describing it to someone in the store once, and they were like, yeah, I mean, there's a dating game for the DS called Spunk.
You want to take that again?
That's probably not right.
Let
me think about it.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, I don't know that much about, the sort of corporate acquisition stuff outside the video game world, but I don't know, it feels like maybe that it's sort of a uniquely something that happens more often in the video game industry than in other industries, where a very large company will buy a much smaller company and then then the big company will rename itself as the small company. Yep. Big companies will buy little companies that are dying but they have a name that has some cachet to it. And then they rename themselves. And so you end up with this thing of the name of a company lasts way longer than the actual company. I guess that happens in any situation where you have valuable IPs.
Speaking of which, there's a story that we didn't do about how Microprose is back.
Oh, right.
Remember Microprose? Probably
Yeah.
not. If you're statistically speaking, if you're watching our show, they made a ton of, like, I mean, like Civilization, like the original Civilization was a
Like-
Microprose game, right? Like they did a lot of strategy and war simulation games.
And it was founded by Sid Meier.
Yeah, exactly. Who is not involved with this current iteration of Microprose, who have not published a game in some time, but are the name, the Microprose name, passed through, several different companies, including the shambling zombie of Atari and Hasbro at one point. And anyway, now they're back up as Microprose, now based in Australia, and producing games that they claim sort of, carry the torch, but not being made by any of the same people, obviously. So it's just sort of like it's a weird, I don't know. I didn't write the story because the only joke I could think of was like, was like, I wonder, like, if this is a smart move for them to be using the Microprose name. Although the people who would have the best memories of playing Microprose games are probably staying inside right now as they're at the most risk because they're old. Was the joke?
Yes, I'm old.
My uncle used to play a lot of Civil War simulators. Is my point.
Didn't they publish XCOM? The first XCOM?
They did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And of course, Civilization. And
Yeah.
I mean, they put lots of, lots of very well.
I mean, I also did too. Yeah, exactly. I know.
Yeah.
It's just people being like, we're not that old. I'm like, I know. That's why it was like, this joke is like, it's, it sounds funny and then it sort of falls apart. So I'm not gonna do it as an actual story, but I'll tell the, look how the sausage is made. I'll tell the story of the joke I didn't write.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, I guess since we're talking about it, let me just tell you real quick. The games that they've announced are Go Away Pop-Up.
That's match 3.
Yeah, that would be a terrible game.
Sorry. Second Front. What do you think?
Oh, Christ.
These all RTS.
Collectible card game.
It's World War II simulation. Also, it's from a company called Hexdraw. So shocking no one, it uses hex tiles.
Ah.
These are all like turn-based RTS things, right? Or I guess
almost
not.
all of them. Yeah,
it wouldn't be RTS if it's turn-based. Turn-based strategy.
Sea Power, in which players control.
The letter C.
Correct. Players control NATO and Warsaw Pact forces.
Shit.
And then Task Force
We're
Admiral.
fighting the letter C.
Shoplifting Simulator.
It is a single-player strategy game in which players take command of a U.S. Navy carrier task force in the early stages of war in the Pacific. So it's like, yeah, all right, that sounds like games that Microprose would make.
Actually, to me, they sound like games that Koei Tecmo would make. Like, that's Koei Tecmo's thing for years was, hey, Nobunaga's Ambition, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Uncharted Waters, like they're all war games. So it sounded very familiar to me. But big blue wobbly thing that mermaids live in. God. Thank you, Cynthia. I can't. If anyone posts a Blackadder quote, I have to just say it out loud.
No, I get it.
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
understand.
Don't take that as a
Challenge, Chad.
As a challenge, yeah. All right, you want to do the next story then, Vish?
You betcha. Another e-racing event has attracted controversy. Don't worry, no one lost a sponsor or outed themselves as a racist. We wouldn't want that. No, instead, a searing melange of classism, troll tactics, and good old-fashioned vengeance resulted in the IndyCar First Responders 175 being turned into a soap opera. Guest F1 racer Lando Norris aggressively challenged Graham Rahal on a corner, forcing Rahal to flinch and steer into Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud was livid, so he brake-checked Norris on a straightaway, causing Norris to run into him. But maybe this had more to do with Lando Norris being an F1 driver, not an IndyCar driver, and how he handed everyone their ass at the previous race. Simon had a rough time of it and wanted Norris to know that no hoity-toity F1 driver races on his turf and lives. In a bid for the lead, Patricio O'Ward crashed into Marcus Ericsson, turning their virtual cars into million-dollar wreckages. But that was because Marcus wanted to fake his e-death, and Patricio knew the life insurance plan would only pay out if it looked like an accident. Oliver Askew was left to take the win until the villainous Santina Ferrucci, angry at how Veronica took half of Ferrucci Inc. and ran straight into the strong, loving arms of Oliver, rammed his car into Askew, destroying both cars and delivering the win to the plucky underdog, Scott McLaughlin, and his long-lost twin. Now, obviously, this all didn't really happen, at least not for the reasons I said. Everyone did crash, but mostly because of the aforementioned classism, troll tactics, and vengeance. But if any of these gentlemen are upset that we're not treating them and their esports seriously, well, guys, it's on you to prove that we should.
Turns out that when they're not driving real cars, they're a bunch of assholes. They're probably assholes anyway, but they're just like, what if I just cause accidents on purpose?
Well, because there's a thing, like there's a couple of well-known. I remember seeing a thing. It's probably on like Top Gear or something, but seeing a thing about there's like a couple of like well-known F1 drivers that in the driving in the real world are known to be like drive in a very aggressive, borderline like suicidal way, in the sense that they like, I am moving into this spot.
Yeah.
If you don't move, we are both going to die.
Yeah, they're basically playing chicken at 250 kilometers an hour. Like it's
and they're considered to be like, it's considered to be extremely poor form, I guess, or like it's not technically against the rules, or how they do it is not technically against the rules, but
yeah.
So like that's a
There's
real
a sense
thing.
of poor form.
That's a real thing when they actually will die. So I can imagine if it's just digital, they're like, oh yeah, this is open season.
So this is based on an article that we read at Vice, and it's an amazing article to read because you really get a sense of the long-standing micro rivalries that kind of go on here, where it's like the reason that these two people had this thing is because they were just like, Lando Norris is an F1 driver. F1 drivers are
Lando
kind of
Norris,
like,
by the way, very made up sounding name.
Very made up sounding name. Lando's an F1 driver, and F1 drivers have this reputation as being like, you know, the finest drivers in the world, racing the world's fastest cars, that kind of thing. And if you race IndyCar, if you don't race in F1, you have to hear that shit all the time. And so the problem is that when Lando also is really good at iRacing, and so when he came out to race in a previous race at the Circuit of the Americas, an E-race, mind you, he handed everyone their ass, which is why I mentioned that. And so there's a lot of this like low bubbling, simmering, whatever going on. And when you read the article, you realize that Simon Pagenaud was taking the iRacing series extremely seriously. He was doing very well at it. He was earning his points. He was racing the way he's supposed to. And then this one thing happened, and he all of a sudden decided that this game that I've been taking very seriously, that I'm treating like it's my job because I am getting paid to do this right now, is no longer a serious thing at all. And why the fuck should I care? And let's ruin it for everybody. Which then touched off everyone else being like, yo, what does this even matter? And then basically throwing the entire race, because who cares? None of us are actually going to die. And I'm like, that's not cool. It's one thing if it's a bunch of buddies sitting around doing this, or if you're all like, y'all, we're just gonna like dick around, it's gonna be fun, haha. But you're not playing Wipeout. You're playing a simulator. You're getting paid to do that. People want to watch you race. They don't want to watch you crash your cars into each other. And it kind of made me feel like I have no reason to take you seriously then, and have really not interested in watching you race for real.
And I mean, this is just, I mean, it in some ways, in terms of, you know, if you're talking about like the legitimacy of esports as a thing, it's nice to see that there's just as much, you know, controversy and people being stupid for no reason and stuff that we've seen for many years in the esports world, of people, you know, playing it, but just because it's not something that I pay that much attention to. I haven't, you know, you don't hear about it so much in the, you know, like in the racing world or whatever. I'm sure it was
Mhm.
always there, but now, before they were in their little, like it was probably just confined to them swearing at their like pit crew over the
Well,
microphone. Now we can,
the
everybody can hear it.
the
Yep.
villainous Santino Ferrucci is definitely not something that I think he comes by without earning, because Santino has punched out teammates, and he has done a lot of trollish things. He has like apparently there's been accusations of using
Texting
racial
while
slurs.
driving.
Yeah, texting while driving in a race car, like these kind of things. That's like he's been banned from European open wheel racing as a result, which is why he's now in IndyCar. And I'm just like, these guys, like it there's a lot of machismo and there's a lot of like risk taking, because that kind of has to go like part and parcel of the job. But it's also like being a test pilot, right? You kind of earn that machismo because you're doing dangerous things. And when you're doing something that's not dangerous and you just treat it like it's a gag, then fine, then it's a gag. You guys are a joke. Congratulations, that's what you've earned.
Before before you can get behind the wheel of a car again, you must complete at least one round of Mario Party with the person that you are mad at,
Wow.
and
Man.
without rage quitting. And then you'll be designated okay to drive again.
Mm-hmm.
Last story.
Last story. All right. And now for my favorite part of the video, reading the ESRB warnings. Cyberpunk 2077 contains blood and gore, intense violence, nudity, strong language, strong sexual content, use of drugs and alcohol. Which sounds like a grand old time, but the bullet points from the ESRB recently released rating of CD Projekt Red's hotly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077 aren't even the most fun part. No, that's always the written summary, with such nuggets as: during one quest, players assist a character by hammering nails through his hands and feet. Presumably some kind of robot Jesus. The summary continues: the game contains nudity and sexual material. Players can select a gender and customize their character. Customizations can include depictions of breasts, buttocks, and genitalia, as well as various sizes and combinations of genitals. Ooh, combinations, kick ass. I want my cyborg mercenary to have a dong, and then up top, a big ol' pair of dongs. Finally, the summary also warns that players can engage in first-person perspective sex scenes, and that, quote, some scenes contain brief depictions of thrusting motions, which is a shame for your character. Maybe you can level up the stamina. And, quote, other scenes depict a character's head moving towards a partner's crotch. But it doesn't say what happens when the head gets there. It could be anything, especially if you've installed a frozen yogurt machine down there.
It's a cool cyberpunk future. Who knows what you could have?
That's right.
Yeah. Don't limit yourself.
No.
Dear. Yeah, I've noticed it also, even in movies and stuff. Like I think it was the Extraction, the one on that just came on Netflix with oh, what's his name? Thor guy,
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Anyway,
Thor guy.
Anthony Hopkins. He was also in Thor.
but like the warning at the beginning is like continuous bloody violence plus a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, okay, let's get into this.
This game contains explicit scenes of violence and gore. That was the old warning on Resident Evil.
Ah.
My favorite was
when you started the game up.
was it Sam and Max Hit the Road. It was rated.
Oh, yeah?
You know, it wasn't. It was just. It was rated like T for teen or whatever. But the description of it was rewards harming non-threatening creatures. That's fair. That's fair. It does do that.
I'm glad that some people picked up on the Gourmet Makes reference that I was doing there. So thank you for that. Yeah. So I mean, it's always fun reading the ESRB's very clinical descriptions of the content of a game. I just really love other scenes depict a character's head moving towards a partner's crotch, which I just imagine. Do you remember that video of that's all weird CG and it's stuff like Rage Cage and Descending Bear, you know?
Yes!
Yeah. So I just imagine a head and a crotch and just like I don't that
maybe,
description doesn't sound sexy. It just sounds very
or maybe like
robotic.
a 2001 style, like do 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 do.
Oh
I'm
god.
just picturing like one of the characters having their hands up like this, and then their head just extending downwards on like a very long neck, not
Yeah.
moving.
Alrighty.
Oh, and then do we do the coming ups on these? I haven't
Sure.
done one of these.
We don't normally, but go ahead.
Sure. Coming up, RoboCop is joining the cast of Mortal Kombat 11 in its upcoming Aftermath expansion, with Peter Weller returning to the role. We assume Johnny Cage will be the first to get shot in the dick, but he won't be the last. What other fatality do you give RoboCop than shooting someone's dick off?
It's true, yeah.
I'm hoping that he's just like, wait here, and then walks away, and the big like mech walks in and shoots somebody.
Oh, that would be rad. The, like,
8209 just walks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Somehow they're working together now.
The weird thing with Mortal Kombat is like
the weird thing.
Yes. The weird thing of it from a video game perspective is they're so like weirdly dedicated to the plot now. Like in the last couple of games, they like really have put a lot of work into not only the overarching story, but also why these people are fighting in each particular circumstance. What's going on? What's their motivations and all this stuff, which is ridiculous to begin with because it's Mortal Kombat and you're like breaking people's spines. But then on top of that, I think they've actually like now they're sort of because they're like Jason is in it, and the Terminator is in it, RoboCop
And
is in it,
and Predator.
and so
Oh my God.
then they try to like I
Freddy
don't know if they're
Krueger, I
like
think.
integrated into the story, but it's just like how why have all this like just bringing in all these like pop culture things into what is ostensibly they're trying to actually tell like a relatively not serious but,
Coherent?
like, coherent story. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think they're owned. NetherRealm is owned by the same people who own WB, or they
Yeah,
own
it's I think
WB own NetherRealm now.
NetherRealm is just a Warner Brothers studio.
So they have access to some of these IPs.
Like Bugs
so.
Bunny.
Yeah.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah.
Be grim.
What's up,
The
Doc?
characters from Toonami.
It's what's up, Doc, and then like shoves a carrot to the guy. You're from Shoot 'em Up.
Oh, yeah.
Where he like
Oh,
shoves a
no.
carrot into the guy's face.
The they should include the oh god, what were they called? Hang on.
The Lunatics. Buzz
Thank
Bunny.
you. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Absolutely, I did.
Yes. Buzz Bunny. That's the only name I remember.
Yeah.
Oh god. This terrible like edgelord rebrand of the there we go. Lunatics Unleashed, main characters. Oh, Ace Bunny, they renamed him. Okay. Danger Duck, Slam Tasmanian, Techie Coyote, Rev Runner. Good lord, Danger Duck. So stupid.
All right. Just a few other stories here that are kind of silly.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the very best, the best there ever was in Valorant?
I do.
Congratulations, you're Valorant.
No, that's the game I'm playing.
Yes, but it's also the top rating in the game Valorant.
What?
Yeah.
It's so
So
stupid.
it goes like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, Valorant.
Wait, does it not
Is-
say Immortal as well? Was there not another one? I thought it was like Immortal and then Valorant.
Iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, Valorant.
Yeah. So people are like, this is it's a very sort of like practical thing. It's like okay, this is really stupid. What if I want to say, find somebody who has really good like gameplay in Valorant? Should I search for Valorants? Like,
Yeah, it's mostly that it makes it very difficult to talk about
yeah.
online because
Oh
it's
yeah,
just confusing.
yeah. I'm Valorant in Valorant.
Yeah.
So you aren't the guys in Valorant? Are the guys in Valorant called Valorants? I don't know. Is Valorant a word? Did Valorant exist as a word before the game Valorant? Like, is that somebody who has valor?
Well,
Is
there's
it
Valor and Valorant. As Dark Matt points out in the chat, there's Valor and Valorant and Luigi Valorant. That's like, I guess if you play or two your way through Valorant. Anyway, that was dumb.
It's a Catalan. It's a word. It's not an English word. It's a word in Catalan. The verb of valorar, which is to value. So it is. It just means of value, I guess.
Also,
Sorry, Lady Lockwood was like, "Wait, why is iron worse than bronze?" Ah, well, it's not shiny enough. Sorry, carry on, Paul.
in Call of Duty Warzone, people have figured out that so they wanted to get the Jeep on top of
the ATV.
So there's
they did with the Jeep too, right?
Yeah, there's a Jeep, there's an ATV and stuff, and there's a big Coliseum or like a stadium,
Football stadium. Yeah.
and they figured out that you can drive a car on top of the helicopter, like on top of the spinning blades.
Yeah, the spinning rotors create
the rotors just act as like a platform. I don't know if you like slow down too much, you fall. The blades act as a platform, and so there's all these amazing videos of the helicopter sitting there by like an edge, and then Jeep drives onto the top of the helicopter, and then they go up. But they have to be very careful because, of course, when a helicopter goes forward, it tilts forward, like when it. Because that's how a helicopter flies, and so they have to coordinate so that they're moving forward while the person in the Jeep is sort of moving backwards, and so anyway, and so they did all this stuff so that they could, and also, as you might guess, having a Jeep sitting on top of it makes the helicopter hard to fly. Because I guess there's like still physics from the weight of the Jeep. I don't know.
Oh, there's still physics, is there?
Apparently, it makes the helicopter really hard to fly. But anyway, they managed. There's a great video of them managing to finally get up, and then they drive it off the top of the helicopter onto the top of the stadium, and then they can like do donuts up in the stadium. There's nothing up there.
This is during the game, by the way.
Oh yeah, because
they're being shot at.
Yeah, as with a lot of these. Yeah, they're
being really conspicuous too.
There's this great. There's part as part of the process. There's this great thing of them doing that, and then somebody is like walking by and is like, shoot you, and start shooting them, and then the guy in the car on top of the helicopter gets out of the car, hides behind his car. While still on the helicopter blade.
Oh yeah, okay, good.
And shoots the guy on the ground, and then gets back into his car.
Well, you see, the way a helicopter blade works is it generates enough down pressure from the wind blowing down. But if you have that much pressure pushing down, you can have an equal amount of pressure pushing up, and that's what's happening. Is the Jeep is riding on top of a cushion of air like a hovercraft.
Exactly. That is entirely accurate to how the physics works.
Did I ever tell you, I have a friend who works at BioWare, and in Dragon Age, he published a bug about this multiple times until they finally fixed it, because he was like, the windmills are rotating the wrong direction. And it kept going, like they kept in development, and he was like, No, but the windmills are rotating the wrong way. The way you have them rotating right now, there's no way the vanes would actually. You'd have to reverse the vanes, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get to." And finally, I think they actually did fix it. But it was like, yeah, because windmills always rotate in one direction. Apparently, they don't rotate in reverse, and somebody had decided that they rotate in reverse.
You could have them go the other way if you flipped which way the vanes were going.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
weird. Super Mario Brothers. Someone very creatively managed to port is sort of the wrong word, but they made a version of Mario 64 that could run natively in Windows at like high resolution and like working on widescreen displays.
And the two things
had reshaders and ray tracing and stuff.
So the big thing is that Mario 64 has been like super duper hacked.
Yeah.
Before this, but it was always having to be. It was always like the ROM was hacked within an emulator. This is not that. Also, this is not a recreation of Mario 64 in another game's engine, which there have been a couple of projects that were working on that. This is actually they decompiled the source code for it and reverse engineered it.
Which is very impressive. You can't find it now because, of course, this was, Nintendo was like, don't do that. It was, I found it very funny because I was reading the Kotaku article about it. And again, Luke Plunkett wrote that one. And there's a comment because people were giving him crap to be like, because you talked about it, Nintendo saw it and took it down. And the top comment was like, darn it, Luke, how dare you and no one else, no other website, be responsible for Nintendo finding out about this, because everybody was talking about this story.
Yes,
it's cool.
Nintendo wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah, exactly. I saw a picture of it running on one of those like stupid ultra wide Samsung monitors. It looked really neat, but it's just sort of like, huh. All right.
It's kind of amazing because part of the when you want to reverse engineer an N64 ROM, and the Ars Technica article on this is astounding. You have to figure out what specific version of the Silicon Graphics IDEO compiler was used to create the ROM in the first place, and it wasn't like there was only one ever released. There was different builds of the compiler, and you have to start there, which means you have to somehow get a hold of all of these outdated compilers that would have only been released for certain companies. And so yeah, this has been years and years of work for them to be able to get to this point. And now it's like there is a Windows executable that is Super Mario 64. Kind of cool.
And then now you can play Super Mario 64, which you could do before, but you could play it in a different way, and it looks better. So, yay! Which is,
it's not emulated; it's running as C code technically. So,
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like yes, very impressive. It's but it's like there's when they there's a great demo at like DEF CON or one of these things where they hacked the Wii U handheld, like the Wii U, the whatever you call it, the Wii Pad part of it. And so this was the first time they were demonstrating being able to send arbitrary video to the Wii U gamepad from a PC rather than from an actual Wii.
Right.
And so it was quite cool that they were able to do that. The video that what they chose to demo that capability with was they had a Wii U emulator running on the computer, and they sent. They could have said any kind of info, like the fact that it was a Wii U emulator wasn't part of the hack. Right. They could have said anything, but they decided to send to the video that they said was like Zelda, Wind Waker, or not Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. It was like, it doesn't take away from the impressiveness, but why?
Evil Bad Man just linked to the image I was talking about of Mario chilling outside the castle on a
holy crap
Samsung ultra wide. Yeah, right.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
I do like that. That's amazing.
I don't know, Paul, if you're able to throw that up on Still Store.
Did you find it? Grab it?
How much is that Samsung monitor?
Boop.
Look at that thing.
I don't know, maybe $150.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those ridiculous wide-angle monitors have been around for a while now, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not that expensive. Like they're, not. They're
Are they
I think
about
they're
as much as
comparable
two
to.
monitors?
They're comparable to that amount of pixels in multiple monitors. I think.
Between $800 and $1,500.
What if I want a really long editing timeline?
I actually just saw a video just as a random aside. I saw a thing on I think it was like Linus Tech Tips or whatever. They're reviewing this thing that made by like Asus or something. That's these little. They're like little special like lens mirror things. That's like a strip. And if you have like a triple monitor setup, you put it over the edge, like you put it
Oh my god.
into
On the bezel?
on the bezel, and it's like a lens that it sort of reflects the monitors on each side, so it basically hides your bezel behind itself.
Neat.
It's one of those things where it's like, that's really cool. It's like that's a real product. It sounds like something that somebody would just sort of make and be like, cool, look at this. But no, apparently it's a real thing. And the guy who was using it was like, this is dumb. And then put it on and was like, it kind of actually works.
Nice.
It sort of works. I don't know if I want this, but
Sir Biffalo has linked to that video, which I'm going to watch later.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we should first tell you about what's coming up next, because
Yes, please.
I believe this is the end of, or so far,
This is the end.
of ChillPoint. But we should tell you about what's coming up next, because it's LRMTG. James and Adam are going to be playing the magical cards, presumably Ikoria drafting, I would guess.
Yeah. Hi, Korea.
And then tonight, it is going to be more of the Grim Dawn crew.
All aboard the Vengabus.
Yeah, the various incarnations of the. They seem to be having a lot of fun with sillier than I would have thought a game called Grim Dawn would end up being. But you know what? That's how it goes sometimes. And then on Friday, Kathleen is going to continue her Play It Forward of Tokyo Mirage sessions.
Yes.
Which she started on Wednesday. So come check that out.
The full name is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore.
Mm.
Oh, it's the Switch version, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you, Japan.
And then on Friday night, we've got one of these Friday night, not paper fights, but it's going to be a very special thing of playing Gladiator.
Yeah.
Which
is a
yeah.
It's an arena it's an arena 100-card singleton format that Ben Wheeler's been working a lot with folks to sort of champion that format over on his channel, and so we're going to be he'll be there. It'll be Wheeler and myself and two other people, which I should have looked up before I started talking.
That's okay.
Graham,
it will be
Ben Ulmer, and Cameron.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be playing Gladiator. So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it is not a functional equivalent of Canadian Highlander.
No, because it's only using the arena card pool, but it's using the entire arena card pool, which is not nothing.
Yeah, and it has a banned list, or is known as the Oko list, apparently.
Yes.
It has the entire arena card pool except Oko.
Except Oko, yes. That is the banned list.
Oh, hey, all you arena cards, you come over. Oko, you stay.
Not you.
Yeah.
Poor Oko.
Yeah, that would take so long to do, Beach. It's like every single one of you is a great card and wonderful, and I'm glad to have you all in this format. I think that we'll all make some very good not you decks together, and it take 8 hours.
And then, speaking of Valorant, perhaps one of our players will become Valorant on Saturday.
Oh.
Probably not.
Probably not. I doubt they're going to be playing ranked queues. Is the thing.
But we have the return, at least brief return, of one more, where James and various other people, James and Ben and Serge and Adam and Jeremy White, are all going to be playing Valorant. Apparently, it's kind of interesting that like 5 people apparently is the sort of the target number for Valorant, which is, I feel like, slightly different than some other multiplayer arena things. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, so you run with the 5 stack.
And then on Sunday, Kathleen is continuing her efforts to tour every island in Animal Crossing. It's going to be a long series.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll see. She's has all new places to come look at, and I think also possibly going back to some previous places that have been updated and things.
Yeah.
And then Heather,
Lawrence.
sorry. Go ahead.
Lawrence 72 is asking, did I miss the Road Quest rewatch? No, that's happening on May 22nd.
Yes. So
it'll be an all-day stream on that day.
And then on Sunday, Rhythm Cafe. Ian and Heather are going to be playing Air Tone, which I do not know what that is.
I think it's a VR game.
Ooh.
I don't remember.
And then on Monday, it is more Play It Forward with Kathleen, and it is Dice Friends, where they are going to be continuing their Toon campaign with Serge and Kathleen, and Dale and Andy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Contingent Cat, I will put my island up for touring on that stream when I feel it is ready for prime time, which it's not yet. But we're getting there. I literally unlocked terraforming this morning.
I mean, now that you have your bridge, what's more?
Right?
What more do you need, really?
Perfect. All day here or on YouTube. Here, the May 22nd will be 2 years since the day we left to begin principal photography. So like May 22nd was when we left town, was day 1 of the road trip. And so James was like, hey, that's a Friday. Let's do a thing. And so it's going to be an all day marathon on the Twitch channel of all 12 episodes of Road Quest. It's not like we're not like doing a commentary on it or sort of like hosting it or whatever, but various of us will be around in chat watching along with you. Just thought it'd be a fun thing to do. So,
all right, we want to thank all you amazing people who have support us, both here on Twitch and on Patreon and on YouTube through YouTube memberships, both subscribing and following the channel, all that amazing support, which is why we can continue to be doing all this stuff. And we very much appreciate that. But in particular, we want to thank the people who subscribed during this stream. Starting with this person, Nifleon, for 8 months. Thank you very much.
Javinius Maximus for 40 months. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Dark Nacht, who's been here 38 months in a row.
Emergent OS for 32 months.
The Green Monster 450 for 39 months. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Keep It Lobster for 42 months. That's the nerd number.
Gralaman for 73 months.
Jodorowsky for 38 months. Welcome back.
Somebody's at my door. I'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Is it possibly Lord Hydros?
I hope not.
That would be weird.
They've been at Beach's door for 14 months. Roost and Skirk for 25 months. Welcome back. Lady Lockwood says they started playing Final Fantasy VII. That's awesome.
Hi, I'm back.
Hi, Beach. Who was at your door?
I don't know.
Okay.
Heather got there before I did.
Great.
So she gets to find out.
There's always the
Nice.
thing in like movies and things with like the live stream where somebody's like, "Oh, 1 minute, I have something I have to do." You know, somebody's at the door, and then walk, and then while
Gunshot.
the person's at home watching, yeah, then just like blood spray across the webcam. It's like, "Oh no, please." Anyway,
I should be using this time to say your name or describe you.
This is speaking. Well, how about you say? Wait. How about Beach? How about you say this name instead?
Asheron's Call, gifted by the Maricat. They're not the
Perfect.
one who killed me.
Zach Schwab for 56 months. I've been playing Return of the Obra Dinn with my brother, which is a great game to play multi-person over distance because it's one person can control, but you're both sort of collaborating on it. But you really wish people would be like, my name is Joe, and this person who's killing me's name is Derek. As their because you get to hear their last words, right? You're like, come on, just say a name, any name, please say a name.
Captain? Perfect. Thank you.
I love Horace 5 said, someday I hope Beach will say that of me as well. That being, they're not the person who killed me.
Anyway.
MKHGOP1. I'm just going to say all the letters because it's all caps. For 2 months, welcome back.
Wait, I did do this person, right? Zach Schwab?
Yes.
56. Yeah, okay.
Albavas for 32 months. Welcome back.
Lord above us.
Freezer Assassin for 70 months. Keeping us safe from those dangerous freezers.
I know, right?
I've always said decaped.
Yeah. I also like decaped.
I know, but now I don't know which one's correct.
I know.
But they've been here for 52 months and they've never corrected me, so I guess I'm just going to keep going with decaped. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Both are correct.
Oh, Jesus.
It's
Why even?
Decaped is one of those words that, like, the regular word and the opposite mean the same thing. Like, you sir, have been caped, which means you've taken your cape has been taken off. But decaped also means the same thing.
I just assumed it was like being degloved.
Oh.
But with a cape? What part?
I
I don't want to think about what part of you is the cape.
Night 21 for 18 months. I'm going to assume that's a silent C. Don't know why.
It's the neuter commuter for 46 months. Thank you very much.
Lula Nirisaka. Cha-cha-cha. For 12 months. Welcome back.
It's a good beat to it. Lurker Spine for 61 months. Welcome back.
Ah, yes, Lurkerspine.
Lurkerspine.
Speaking of pronunciation, someone was saying that the racing driver in your story, a couple people in chat were saying that it's pronounced Rahal.
Is it?
It
Fucking great.
Yeah.
There's
Rahal.
no pronunciation guide on Vice. But
Perfect.
thank you.
Well, it's okay. Now we'll know for when we do the
Hey,
the
hi,
story.
you got a sub.
It's
Sorry.
Lunar Jad. Lunar Jad.
Jade.
Lunar Jade.
Lanar Yade. Bodie McBoatface Jr. for 39 months. Welcome back. They're just names nobody cares.
And welcome back, Don, for 76 months. Did time slow down for you too?
Yeah, that was
you
weird.
interpreted the numbers after the name as like how long you're supposed to hold the
a length of
previous word.
milliseconds.
Yeah.
Number of milliseconds, yeah.
Yeah.
Glodnox for 34 months.
I'm sorry, Basil Hunter for 40 months. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Sniper Pumpkin, for 54 months. Why was it going to be a 6? I know that's a 5. 54 months.
You can't pronounce my Namiha. You can't pronounce my Namiha. Gifted by the Maricat. Thank you.
And thank you for 369 bits from Brave JRL, H-Bomb, and friends. Thank you so much.
Hooray. Okay.
Thanks everybody for watching. We're going to go offline now, but LRMTG will be on in just under 45 minutes.
Yeah.
At 2 o'clock. So stay tuned for that. But until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.